Hey folks, welcome to verifiedinvesting.com. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here. Now in today's video, we're going to deep dive into the daily charts of both Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. I want to take a look at where the buyable levels are as these come in. So we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the charts using technical analysis. Remember, no BS, just charts here at verifiedinvesting.com. All right, take a look. This is what we have on ETH or Ethereum. We can see that, again, it was trading within parallels all along, basically going back. I mean, listen, you can even go back to 2024 and the parallels have merit. And notice, again, they're all based off this midpoint right here. That's what I base off every parallel, the parallel here to this little point right through there, all across the way as we see ETH hammering on this midpoint and finally breaking to the downside. Now, what does this mean here, folks? It means that ultimately we're likely going down to this trend line, this parallel, which is going to be a major technical support. That level, folks, is around 3,800. So for me, I'm going to be looking to buy ETH at around 3,800. We'll be looking for an opportunity there to scoop up and buy ETH for a significant swing trade bounce. The idea here would be potentially you can get a bounce all the way back to this secondary parallel or the main parallel around 4,400. So that's a big gain. I mean, in terms of percentages, we can look at what this shows us here, and we're looking at a potential 16% move. We just need to see the continuation of the flush here to the downside. All right, beautiful little opportunity there. And again, you can see ETH breaking and continuing lower. By the way, this is coexisting with a major level in the stock market. Take a look at this chart. By the way, this is the NASDAQ futures here as it's rolling over significantly this morning. But this is the trend line that I've been following. On the NASDAQ 100, which, let's be fair, the NASDAQ 100 has led this market all the way up because it's the AI trade, right? I mean, literally the AI stocks, the chip stocks make up $10 trillion of market cap, very similar to the dot-com era. Now we're starting to see those crack, right? NVIDIA is not making new all-time highs. We're seeing stocks starting to fall even on good news. But ultimately, the QQQ guiding me here, take a look at this chart. This trend line goes back to the 2020 lows. And the reason why this is important if you're in crypto is basically because this gives us a basis for essentially knowing if it's risk off. And risk off in the stock market is generally not good for altcoins, as we know, right? And so going back to ETH, it makes sense that ETH is starting to tumble a little bit here as the NASDAQ is starting to take a hit. Now, again, that doesn't mean it won't bounce here. This is where the probability tells us it will bounce. But certainly this is a big point of contention right here, right around this 3,800 level. That's where I will start nibbling. Now, listen, I never go all in. Remember, these are the policies of a great trader, right? Someone who's been around the block, who's taken tons and tons and tons of losses. It's to never go all in on any single position. It's to maneuver, give yourself a starting point, add levels along the way, because you just don't know how low these things could go if the bottom does fall out, right? And so as much as we might love ETH or love XRP or love Solana, we've got to be prepared for the inevitable possibility that we see a bigger move to the downside. So right here on ETH, again, that's my first level right there. That's going to be a big one to monitor right around 3,800. That's my starting point. If it breaks there, my add level would be 3,350. Right in here, 3,350 to 3,800, 3,380. This pivot low right here. Ultimately, my next big add level would be down here. Now, I don't think it's going to get there in the near term, but that has to be a level we monitor just in case. Just in case, folks. Just in case. Okay, let's flip over to the Solana daily chart. So this was in this little upsloping parallel. I did a video on this very station on YouTube talking about how if this parallel breaks, the bottom's going to fall out of Solana. And that's exactly what has happened. Now, we do have a little bit of minor support right between 200 down to about 197. If you're aggressive, that would be a little level to look for a bounce. Ultimately, this trend line right here is the one we're eyeing. This would be the big buy level right around 186 to 187. 186 to 187, folks. That is the big one right there. If we come straight into that, huge swing trade opportunity. Notice I'm not talking long-term investing, and I want to be crystal clear on this. I'm not a long-term investor. If you ask me where Solana is in 10 years or 5 years, I have absolutely no clue, just being honest with you guys. Same thing with Ethereum or ETH, same thing with XRP, heck, even Bitcoin, right? The charts, when we read the charts, they give us our highest probability in the near term. Once you start projecting out like in a year, 5 years, 10 years, you know what happens? There's a lot of variables, like what's the policy of the next administration? What's the policy changes in this administration? We hope it's good for crypto, right? But you just don't know. What's the policy changes around the globe? We don't know, right? And so in variables that you cannot predict, that you're unsure of, mean that the probabilities of any projection out longer are going to be less good or less probable. So ultimately, in the near term is the best. That's why I'm a swing trader, frankly. And my level on Solana is 186 right here, guys. That is a big, big level here to monitor and play. Okay, now let's go to XRP. XRP dipped here beautifully. You can see, again, it pierced this level. This is a big level here, and it touched this downsloping level. Now, if you didn't get it there, that's okay. If it flushes again, this area. So notice these next two levels. In fact, I'm going to take this one away and even this one. This is all that matters to me. Stretch this line out right here and stretch this line up. This point here. So if we chop around and we fall into this zone, basically around 250 to 255, that is going to be a very good level on XRP. You should get a significant bounce off of that level. All right, so monitor that one very, very close, guys, or closely on XRP. That should be a fantastic opportunity. But suffice it to say, listen, when crypto was high, I was all about shorting, right? I'm actually still short ETH, although I'm in the money pretty nicely as it continues to fall. But the point being is that as we get into these levels, I start to, as a swing trader, say, okay, the probability of downside is lessening because they're getting oversold. They're coming into major support, and the probability of a bounce is starting to increase. And that's all I care about as a trader, right? As a trader, you're looking literally at probabilities constantly adjusting based on where is price, what's the price pattern and time formation in the chart. So what is the probability? And when the probability gets high on one direction, like this is a major buy level, it's oversold, you got to time count these different factors, then that's where we start to say, okay, now let's move into this phase of it's high enough probability to buy and let's put some money behind it. Now we still leave a little on the sidelines. Like I've told you guys, that's at least what I do because you never know. Like you could have a 75% probability that it's going to bounce and it could still go lower because there's still 25% that you could be wrong. And I like to prepare for that. Even if I don't need it, I feel so much better. I sleep better at night. This psychology, by the way, is the way to becoming a great investor. All right. The greatest investors in the world, they don't prepare for how much money they're going to make. They prepare for the situations that go against them where they're in the loss. How do they maneuver? And that is amazingly important. So if you can switch your brain to think that way, you will immediately become a better investor and trader. I guarantee it. All right. Prepare not for your gains. Like how many of us invest in something and we start counting in our mind, like, oh man, when this goes up 1,000% or 500% or 200%, I'm going to just be like, I'll go buy this. I'll go buy. That's the wrong mentality. Instead, focus on preparing for saying to yourself, all right, I think this is a good level. Probabilities are 75%, but what if it doesn't do that? What if it goes down? How do I handle myself in that situation? And all of a sudden, you'll become a more careful investor, which actually works to make you more money. All right. I'm proof in the pudding because I used to do everything the way I tell you not to do it back in the day. And I took loss after loss after loss. Yeah, sure. I made some big scores because inevitably, even if you're making the wrong decisions, probability, just like when you have 75% chance of a gain because of a good level, there's still 25% downside. So inevitably, if you have 75% chance of losing, there's still 25% of the time it works to the upside, right? Or to the benefit. But that's not how you're going to make a great amount of money in life or in investing. So again, these wise words, folks, take them to heart. You guys know I bring my A game to you guys because I want you guys to be educated. I want you guys to be able to compete and beat institutional money, especially as algorithms and AI become a bigger part of trading and investing. We can still do it. I'm proof is in the pudding right here. And come again and just join us here at Verified Investing, or at least check it out. Check it out, guys. These videos are free. Check out my daily game plan. It's called My Trading Game Plan. It's live every morning at 9 o'clock. We got a lot to discuss today because the markets are literally collapsing, especially individual stocks. Crypto, will go over crypto charts. We'll go over Bitcoin chart. We'll go over gold, all of these out there. All right. Have a great one, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Take care.